Welcome to Presidential Experience Live. Hey guys, this is the place where we chronicle man's search for meaning over money. Today we're going to continue our COVID 19 conversation, talk to you a little bit about how is COVID 19 affecting you financially? How are your finances affected? And how did that affect your mental health? For some people, it wasn't a big deal. They didn't lose their jobs. They continued working. I do have friends that have just continued working. I have friends, and I'm in this group whose businesses have been affected, and some severely affected, others slightly affected. And then I have friends who own businesses that are thriving right now because the actually this is not a friend. This is like a associate. I think you say she's in the accelerator program that I'm in, and she has a company that supplies nurses and doctors with masks and uniforms, and it was like a specialty company, but they blew up because of this. They sent out a lot of scrubs and a lot of masks and a lot of like hats or whatever, all of the medical clothing. She had a medical clothing line, but it was like one of those specialty lines. It wasn't just the plain blue scrubs or the mask. She added some flair to it, and because she was like the only one with product, she sold out. And it just so happened she had just ordered a bunch. Like as soon as she heard that there was some things happening, she ordered a bunch of stuff. So she's been working, but not everybody has been that lucky to have their business in a industry that is thriving right now, because not many industries are. Many people are losing their jobs, going on unemployment, people who maybe just barely made it back from the last crisis. Is that you? And depending upon what industry you're in or what economic status you're in, this could be hitting you in a way that is really affecting your mental health. So, how is COVID 19 affecting you financially? Now, I'm sure you've given this much thought, so I don't have to give you time to think about it. But what I do want to talk about today is if there are any things that we can do. Of course, you know I'm a financial therapist and I specialize in reconciling emotions around money. But I want to tell you a little bit about my money story, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do to see how whatever help I can give or relief I can give you. So back when I was about 17 or 18 years old, my parents got laid off both in the same year. At least that's the way I remember it. I'll have to confirm that with them. And it felt this way to me in my 17, 18-year-old brain that one day we went from having two six-figure incomes around us to, I don't know, it felt like zero, right? To my teenage brain, because my parents didn't used to say no, and then all of a sudden they did start to say no, and it was a shock. And I was like, "Whoa, what do you mean? Like we're not going shopping? What do you mean we can't buy that? It didn't make sense." But in some ways, we didn't stop because, like, I went on prom that year, and like many teenagers who are experiencing this right now, they're not going to get to go on prom. Well, my mom knew that that experience was important to our family. Like I remember my sister going on prom and everybody coming over and it being like a little party before the prom, and I was looking forward to that. So she spent back then she spent $600 on my dress, and that's probably the equivalent of at least $1,000 today. And so that was just the beginning, and then we had food, and it was just a big gathering. I remember we did so much afterwards. We went to eat. Not so it wasn't just a prom ticket. We went to a fancy restaurant, and then we also had a hotel party afterwards, and then we went to the amusement park in Chicago. It's called Great America. We went there. It was a really expensive and eventful weekend for me. Then just a couple of weeks later, I graduated. We did even more. I think like maybe 12 or 15 people. My dad took 12 or 15 of us out. It was my very first time having tapas, and all of this happened within a month. And they didn't have income coming in yet because they were starting to build a business, but it wasn't it wasn't flourishing yet, just like any business. So they were living a lot off of their savings, but they were living still like nothing had happened because they didn't want us to feel it. They didn't want to affect our lives until they absolutely had to. And I was going to college later that year. So it was a big deal. But they weren't talking about it because they didn't want to upset us or stress us out. But not talking about it still kind of stressed us out. So I didn't expect to talk about this today. This is Presidential Experience Live, though. So what I had in my notes was something totally different. But and our 10 minutes is almost up. But I want to say that this is a big deal for everybody in your family, whether they're 17, or 47. If you have been, if your finances have shifted and it's affecting your family, you need to talk about it. And you might be saying, Kanae, no, I don't want my kids to stress out over money. Well, the truth is, they're stressing out even if you don't talk about it. Trust me, I know, I've been there. I was stressed. I was confused, losing sleep, wondering what was happening to our family and why things were so different. So I'm encouraging you to have conversations with your spouse, have conversations with your children. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to go into deep detail on things that they just won't understand, but at least let them know that things have shifted. And because of that, you have to shift. And it doesn't mean that they're not worthy or that they've done anything wrong, but just that when life shifts, you have to shift because this will prepare them for the future. I don't know how long this will last, but if it's not just a few weeks, this could be coded as a traumatic experience in the brains of you and your children. And I once dated someone that didn't like Money Day. You know, if you followed me for a while, you know I have this thing called Money Day in my life. And Money Day happens once a week for me, but when I am in a relationship, it's once a month that we talk about the finances, especially because I'm not married, so our finances are not combined. So once a month we have Money Day. And he didn't really like to have that conversation. And I imagine that if we weren't having those conversations and then something like this happened, and now we do have to have those conversations, we have no practice. And so to not have practice and to have a really stressful money conversation would have been very tough. So start talking. If you haven't been the type of couple to talk about money, just start having a conversation slowly because the man is likely to feel, if he's the one who's lost the income, he's likely to feel like he's failing his family. And he's not probably going to want to be that vulnerable and just come out and say that. So he may withdraw. He may go inside his cave. He may try and figure it out his own. He may lose sleep. He may even lose some dignity doing some things that he doesn't, that are not in line with his values to make sure his family is taken care of. You don't have to do anything outside of the law, anything outside of your values and your standards and your ethics, your morals to survive this. It's going to feel like it at times, but you can sacrifice during this. If you can have conversations with your family and just say, you know, that thing we usually do, we're not going to be able to do that right now, but we'll pick it back up. All is not lost. So give us about 6 months to get back on our feet. And sure, the teenagers, they'll complain, they'll fuss, because that's what teenagers do. They fuss and complain. But you can get them out of that by just having conversations with them to let them know, don't worry, everything is going to be fine. It's a little bit of a stressor right now, but let's not get upset about it. Let's put a plan together. And it might mean a teenager goes out and gets a job if they don't already have it for the things they want. They don't have to keep it forever, and they don't have to see life as this fairy tale. It's real. But they also don't have to see life as this horrible place that keeps secrets from them, and then by the time they find out about it, it's too late for them to do anything, and they're completely out of control. So that's our time together, and I can't believe it went that fast. So I want to invite you to my private club, and on Saturday, the 9th. So today is Wednesday, and the 6th, and on Saturday the 9th, I'm going to be doing a master class for my private club, and it's $97 for the year. I'll just tell you that $97 for the year, but we are running a 10-day trial period. So if you get in, you can cancel um, within the 10-day trial period, because we'll already have we would have had the Saturday. So if you want to be part of this Saturday master class, where we're going to talk about how to thrive, not just survive after COVID-19, how to thrive, not just survive after COVID-19. And we're going to be talking about the three things that you need in order to create a life of meaning. And I'm going to break each one down for you. And there are two things that you absolutely have to do. Some things you can do on your own, some things you might want to do with me or want to do in the group. And you can decide that once you get in there. If you want to cancel, cancel. But if you feel like this is the group for you, this is the tribe for you, then stay with us. And I'm really confident that you will feel like that, especially if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, or you've followed me on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, or if you are already a part of our list, then like maybe you've taken the quiz, the money mentality quiz or the life of meaning quiz, and you're already in our world in some way or another. But whatever it is, I want to keep you close. I want to hear from you. So if you have something you want to talk about, or you want to share your story, like how your mental health is staying intact, or how your mental health is affected, maybe it's not staying intact, then share it with us. Send me an email at podcast@presidentiallifestyle.com, podcast@presidentiallifestyle.com. If you want to join the club, you're going to go to joinpresidentialexperience.com. Joinpresidentialexperience.com. I'll put both of these in the show notes, the email address as well as the website to join the club. And I will see you sooner, because we have to protect our mental health, whether it's a catastrophic event or just daily activity. And I want to give you more things to discuss, more tips, more tools, more resources. But today, the only field work I want to say today is to just start having more money conversations with your children, with your significant other, even with yourself, so that you're not hit as hard and you don't know what to do, or this is the first time you started having this conversation. Have the conversations before it's stressful. And that's true for every kind of conversation, but it's especially true for a money conversation because of our programming. So that's our show for today. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll be talking, I might continue this COVID conversation, or I might talk about the brain, as I said that I would before. All right? Well, I will see you sooner, my prosperos. In the meantime, have a prosperous day.